Will everyone please join me in Gassho and recite the Nembutsu with me? Namo Amida Butsu. 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 Good morning. So I would like to welcome you to our Sunday service. It seems like a little while since we had our last Dharma school service, only because we've had so many special, I think, services in between that time. Then, of course, I have to go to Oregon once a month, and I'm starting to feel the, just the weight and the heaviness of all the services recently. But for Dharma school students, I would like to revisit a subject that I've been talking about in my past Dharma talks for the Dharma school, and that is the subject of the 6 paramitas. So far, we've only been able to cover 3 paramitas, and that is dana, which is selfless giving. That is the concept that you give without the expectation of something in return, which I think is one of the hardest things that we have, because when we give things, we kind of expect to receive things back, especially like if it's something like giving a gift. Even like, it's not necessarily that we expect a gift back, but we expect to hear thank you, right? But sometimes sometimes we may not get that, and we may go, I'm not giving you a gift again. And then, but that's not what dana is. The Buddhist concept of dana is selfless giving. The next one is sila, or morality, or Buddhist ethics. Mostly this is the idea that we do our utmost best to try to not cause harm, okay? Of course, physical harm is kind of hopefully easy to do, right? We don't cause physical harm as much as possible, but then we try our best not to hurt other people's feelings. We try our best to be polite. We try our best to say thank you when we do receive the gift, because we feel grateful that we received this gift. Sila is ethics or morality. The next one is shanti, okay, which is patience. This is hardest for me because, as I have freely admitted to the Sangha here and to my other friends, I am not the most patient person in existence. And if you don't believe me, why don't you sit in the car with me during traffic? Again, I'm not the most pleasant person to be with. Thankfully, Reverend Cindy is incredibly patient, and she's doing her best to still teach me that lesson of patience. But patience is important because we don't always get what we want right away. And especially in today's world, where modern technology, the way that it is. Okay, Dharma school students, how many of you have a cell phone? Admit it? Yes? Okay, all right, good. The middle schoolers and high schoolers have all raised their hand. Information and media and content is available to you at a snap of the finger, right? I'm certain your parents, your grandparents, your aunts and uncles can tell you of the time that they had to wait for things to actually be presented, or they had to go to the library to look up information, right? They actually had to put some effort into seeking information out. Now you can just ask Google and just go, hey, what is the answer to this question? And Google, with artificial intelligence now, will actually give you, a pretty accurate answer. It's kind of scary when you think about it. But patience, because of all this, I think our patience has gone down. And that's because we expect things right then and there. But patience, of course, is another virtue or another of the paramitas. But then, of course, today, that's one I would like to talk to you all about is the 4th paramita, which is virya. Virya. Virya means effort. Okay, Dharma school students, open your eyes, sit up, right? This is virya. Yeah, sit up, virya. What does virya mean? Effort. Say that again, with effort. Virya means? Effort. Very good. See, this is what we're talking about. So, what I like about the paramitas is that they kind of are sort of principles to sort of think about. We don't always live by these principles every single day of our lives, or we don't constantly think about them. But when we actually put our actions, our words into action, or our daily tasks that we do we always do them with the paramitas in mind? Probably not, right? But we can try our best to do so. And this is where vidya is very, very important. So all of you know that, I'm on a sort of a fitness regimen, right? Or kind of working out. I'm certain that all of you high schoolers have physical education that you're required to do. But especially for adults, this gets harder, right? But, we expect, when we look at athletes and when we look at the Olympics and we look at all of these star athletes like in basketball or baseball, we see athletes with incredible skill. We see them do amazing feats that we probably can't do, ourselves. We would love to do it, but the problem is, right, of course, is that these athletes, this is their profession, right? So they are paid to train like this every single day of their lives. Well, not every single day, but, close to that. But the problem is when we look at this, especially when we look at this online, and we sometimes try to emulate what they do, like, the way that they throw a basketball or how they can make three-point shots from how far away, we probably can't always do what they do. And then what ends up happening is that we get discouraged, and then we lose our steam, right? Now for me, of course, I would love to look like, what's that actor's name in the new Amazon series, Reacher, right? He's huge, he's muscular. I would love to look like that. But that's probably not going to happen anytime soon. So this is where Shanti and Vidya come into play here, right? Because we have to live our lives with a sense of patience, but with a sense of effort as well. We're not going to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger overnight, right? So that's where patience is required. But if we do not, put our effort into what we do, like exercise or even our homework, or even coming to temple, or even reading the sutras, right? We can't expect that we're going to improve in any of these aspects of our lives either. So this is, I like the third and the fourth paramita the most because I think that they are almost interlinked. They're all interlinked, but they are, in a sense, very interlinked, where we first have to be patient with ourselves. We realize that, we're not going to become experts in something overnight. We're not going to be professionals like these ultimate professionals overnight. We all start at the beginning. And it's the same thing, and in order to get to that point where we are considered professional, we have to put effort into what we do. To bring up a really good example of this, I would like to draw your attention to the movie, The Karate Kid. Now, Bishop Harada likes to use this analogy a lot. But if you haven't seen The Karate Kid, and actually, sorry, I should mention that I'm talking about the new version with Jackie Chan and Jaden Smith. And there's actually a sequel to this coming out this year as well. But in this movie, Jaden Smith wants to learn Kung Fu from Jackie Chan. Who wouldn't want to learn Kung Fu from Jackie Chan, by the way? I would love to learn Kung Fu from Jackie Chan. And so he thinks he's going to do all these amazing martial arts moves, right? He's going to do these cool flips and kicks and all of these things that you probably see on television. But the first lesson that Jackie Chan teaches Jaden Smith, and sorry, spoilers ahead, is take off your jacket. Now, hang it up. Take off your jacket. Take the jacket off. Put it back on. Take it off. Put it on the floor. Pick it up. Hang it up. Take the jacket off. Put it on. Take the jacket off. Put it on the floor. And he has them do this day after day after day after day after day. And finally, Jaden Smith's character gets frustrated because he's saying, I thought you were going to teach me Kung Fu. I thought you were going to, teach me how to kick butt. I thought you were going to teach me how to fight, right? So finally he gets frustrated and he's about to leave. And Jackie Chan brings him back. And then he says, and he goes, put on your jacket. And then he takes the jacket away from Jaden Smith and he goes, just do the motion. So Jaden Smith does this, and then immediately Jackie Chan does a hit, and Jaden blocks it. And he says, put your jacket, he goes, take your jacket off. And then he does another hit, and he blocks it. He goes, now put it on the ground. And then he kicks, and Jaden blocks it. And he says, jacket on. And then he starts to do these combinations, and Jaden's blocking all the movements, and he realizes that in this motion of taking off the jacket, putting it on, taking it off and putting it down and putting it up again, he's actually been teaching him Kung Fu. But the more important lesson that Jackie Chan teaches Jaden Smith in this interaction is that Kung Fu lives in everything that we do. The Dharma, right? Now, in our case, the Dharma lives in everything that we do. These 6 paramitas should be aspects that live in us in everything that we do. He says, Kung Fu lives in everything. It teaches us how to take off a jacket, how to put on a jacket, and more importantly, he says, it teaches us how we treat people, right? How we treat people. How do we carry ourselves in society? So when I talk about these 6 paramitas, it's not just arbitrary concepts or lessons that, I have to learn this because it's Buddhist, right? These are actual lessons and applicable things that you can apply to your life. Dana, selfless giving. Ask yourselves, do you give selflessly? Do you give without expecting anything in return? Sila, ask yourselves, seriously, did I hurt someone's feelings this week? Did I say something that I shouldn't have said? Did I do an action that probably caused some hurt? Ask yourselves this. Shanti, did I really, was I really patient when I was losing patience? Was I really, did I really have cause to lose patience? Ask yourself. And then fourth, vidya. This one I really love. Ask yourselves, did I really put 100% of my effort into this task? Did I really put 100% of my feeling into what I was asked to do? When I go to school, when I interact with my parents, when my parents ask me to do something, do I embody those 6 paramitas? Ask yourselves that. Now, of course, I will say, right, we can't be that 100% of the time. It's just, humanly impossible. But that doesn't mean we don't try our best. And that doesn't mean we just give up. And just because we can't be perfect, that doesn't mean we shouldn't try harder. So this is the concept. These are the 6 paramitas, as I will get into the other ones later, that we should try our best to live by every single day of our lives. This is the reason why we teach these lessons for Dharma school. Because you are becoming adults. You will eventually become adults. And you won't have your parents around to monitor your actions anymore. As much as my own father still tries to do that, calls me or tells me or even when I visit home, tries to nag me. By the way, my father still nags me to take out the garbage when I go visit his house in Oakland, right? I think parents will always still be parents no matter what. But regardless of which, that doesn't mean, students, right, that our parents aren't teaching us important lessons. So, with this in mind, Dharma School students, ask yourselves, do I take the 6 paramitas to heart? And I will continue asking these questions throughout the year. Please join me in Gassho and recite the Nembutsu with me. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namandats, namandats, namandats. Please join me in Gassho as I recite the words of our founder, Master Shinran Shonin. My eyes being hindered by kleshas, I cannot perceive the light that grasps me. Yet the great compassion, without tiring, illumines me always. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namandats, namandats, namandats. Good morning, everyone. So today, my quotation comes from the Hymns of the Pure Land Masters, written by Shinran Shonin. This is his commentary or his poems that are based on the various teachings of the 7 Pure Land Masters, who are depicted in this scroll all the way to your left. So when you're facing the Naijin, you'll see a scroll with 7 figures on there. Those are the 7 masters. Today, I quoted from Master Genshin, who is one of the Pure Land Masters from Japan. Now, Master Genshin came out with this famous saying about, that our eyes are clouded by our kleshas or our afflictions, okay, by our ego, our 3 poisons, greed, anger, and ignorance. So we can't purely see the light that grasps us, and that is the light of Amida Buddha. Yet the great compassion, without tiring, illumines me always. This means that the wisdom and compassion, the light, is still coming to us. Now, when we think about this in a scientific way as well, this quotation still works, because in actuality, we cannot see, our human eyes cannot see pure light as it is. The only way we can see light is reflection off of things in front of us. The same thing when you think about the sun, right? The sun is so bright that you will physically damage your eyes if you force yourself to look up at the sun, right? So don't do that unless you have those special glasses that can, when you look up at the eclipse or something like that. But you cannot physically look at the sun for a long extended period of time. Our eyes cannot handle it. But this also really highlights what it really means to be Buddhist as well in our world. Buddhism, helps all of us who are afflicted with our own selfish desires, our own egos, our senses, our own calculations and sensibilities of what right and wrong is. And sometimes those go in direct conflict of other people. So it's hard for us to see ultimate truth and to know ultimate truth of the Buddha Dharma. And at the same time, the warmth and the comfort and the compassion of the Buddha Dharma still is there, very much there for us. Now, some of you in the congregation today are parents, and of course, many of you have parents and have had grandparents as well. Or you might have had a mentor or a person in your lives who very much cared for you and mentored you in your time growing up. So all of you have these figures, I think, in your past and in your head. I get very concerned when I hear people say things like, I pulled myself up by my own bootstraps, right? And of course, not to diminish the accomplishments that we have all done ourselves, right? That's not what I'm doing, right? But what I am saying is that we have to acknowledge the countless efforts and the countless giving of others who have helped us to be here today. And when we think about it, many of these people are in our distant past. Sadly, many of those people are no longer with us. Yesterday at the Tacoma Buddhist Temple, we had a major funeral for one of our longtime members, Mr. Kajimura. And it's my second large funeral here at this temple since we came out of the pandemic. So with this in mind, it really, once again, in a sense, illumines me, and it makes me realize just how much wisdom and compassion our past members have given to this temple, even though they are no longer with us. We tend to value as a society or as people or as human beings, we tend to value the here and now and the things that are given to us like right then and there. If we receive money, if we receive our paycheck, right? If we receive a gift in that moment. And it's nice to receive gifts in that moment, right? But what about the gifts that stay with us for a long, long time, for the long past? I have had so many teachers in my life. I have had so many wonderful mentors growing up, not to mention my parents, of course including my parents in this. But of course my grandparents as well, who are no longer with me. With this in mind, it brings to my attention just how much of an impact all of these individuals have had over, in my lifetime. And of course, I myself am very much afflicted with kleshas and the three poisons, greed, anger, and ignorance. So it's very easy for me as a person to forget about all the wonderful things that have been given to me throughout my life. And yet, when I think about it, these wonderful lessons, these life-changing moments that do good for me or that help me be a better person are still with me even now, and are still working with me even now. And if I'm lucky, if I'm lucky enough, maybe that wisdom gets passed on to the next generation, and they will continue to pass that on as well. This is part of this lesson of light always coming to us. This sense of the Dharma working through us, helping us pass on to our friends, to the community members here, and especially to the younger members of this temple and the general temple community. But of course, in how we go about our lives as well. These lessons and this sense of compassion is not just meant for us as Buddhists, right? It's not just meant for us to treat other Buddhists this way. And I want to heavily emphasize this part as well. Even though if another person is not Buddhist, they could be Muslim, they could be Jewish, they could be some form of Christian, it does not make us stop, right? That, this notion, you're not Buddhist, so therefore you are not worthy of the same type of treatment I give to other Buddhists, right? This is flawed thinking. This is part of the kleshas, or the hindrances. And I think this one alone from Master Genshin really highlights to us the importance and the lesson of limitless wisdom and compassion without any form of discrimination. Many people outside of ourselves, outside of this temple community maybe, may not fit the parameters of what we perceive a person should be, right? Whether that be their religion, their gender identity, their sexual orientation. It's possible that maybe there is a little bit of prejudice within us, right? Or even I don't want to go too far into this, but maybe even another person's political affiliation, if it's known. And yet at the same time, we as, even because we are Buddhist, we have to sort of think about the lessons that are continuously given to us from the wisdom and compassion of Amida Buddha, from our ancestors long past. Not to say our ancestors were perfect, but this sense of community and selfless giving, I think, is a strong cultural trait of the Buddhist churches of America that should very much continue into the future. Great compassion without tiring illumines me always. This type of thinking, this type of awareness of Amida Buddha's wisdom and compassion is what should continue to drive us to live the best we can in society. And this includes the way we treat others. It is very sad because in our country right now, our political system, even the way that we treat others, is so divided. And this isn't to say that we should just let injustices go and that we should continue to, support a flawed system, right? No, not at all. But is it possible to change systems and to meet people where they are with a deep sense of compassion? If a person does wrong and we punish them, does that really teach them the lesson that they need? Now, of course, punishment might be necessary. We don't know. But at the same time, let us try to meet kindness with kindness. These days, it's hard for us to trust. It's hard for us to kind of live our lives with the sense of, we're always looking at the other person going, what do you really want from me? Is it possible that a person is just giving a genuine sense of kindness? With this in mind, this is why Amida Buddha is here for us, because we know from this sense that there is the source of the Buddha Dharma, that, by the way, Amida Buddha makes no profit, no money making from the wisdom and compassion that is continuously given to us right now. I do realize that we live in the United States, and in order to live in the United States, you have to make some form of money. But with this in mind, can we really embody this sense of thinking, this sense of this sense of tireless wisdom and compassion, great compassion for others, great compassion for ourselves. I thank you all very much for taking time out of your busy schedules to come today. And in closing, please keep in mind the lessons that we learn from our founders like Master Shinran and Shakyamuni Buddha, and how we take this back into the world after we exit the temple doors. Please join me in Gassho. My eyes being hindered by kleshas, by afflictions, I cannot perceive the light that grasps me. Yet the great compassion, without tiring, illumines me always. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Nam Mandabs. Nam Mandabs. Nam Mandabs.